Sage Wanderer here, coming at you from my van down by the river. So today is the 17th anniversary of, the 17th anniversary of 9/11, the terrorist bombing in New York City. Right after 9/11, there was this huge swell of patriotism. It's like everybody got in touch with their inner American, and flags were flying from sea to shining sea. It was during this time that the little flag that you clip on side the window of your car was invented for the purpose and for the demand of people that were taping them to their windshield, to their radio antennas. And they were putting flags on poles in the back of their pickups. And never before, except maybe during a parade on a float, had I ever seen the colors and the flag of the United States displayed in such a universal fashion. It was nothing to see a flag on every other car for months following 9/11. And so now I bring you a story from 17 years in the future. From the patriotism of 2001 to the unpatriotism and the attack on patriotism in 2018. So apparently last Friday night there was a high school football game in Orange County, California, between two rival schools. It's your typical football game, high school football game, between the Aliso Nagel School and the Santa Ana High School. And just so that you know, Santa Ana High School is mostly Hispanic, like 99% Latino. And the Aliso Nagel High School is actually mostly white. And so Jeff Bishop is the principal of the Santa Ana High School. And he recently came out with an attack against the entire student body of the Aliso Nagel High School. He accused them all of being racists. He said that on Friday night's game that there were racist chants and racist signs. And so he said that there were signs that said, "We love white," and signs that said, "Build the wall." And so I'm never one to just take anybody's word for anything, so I thought I would investigate as to whether or not any of this actually happened. And here's what is widely being reported and widely known, but I think probably is not being recognized at all by this accuser, this Jeff Bishop, this high school principal, who's accused this entire student body of racism at the Aliso Nagel High School. So what were the signs? Well, I thought "we love white" is kind of a weird statement. If I was going to make a sign, I wouldn't make a sign that says "we love white." I would make a sign that said something else that was more discernible as to what it really meant. That's kind of weird. It's like not proper English. So come to find out, the sign he was referring to that says "we love white" was part of a sign that said "we love white," or "we love red, we love white, we love blue, we love the red, white, and blue." So the "we love white" they were talking about was the white of the American flag. And they took it out of context, this principal did, and called it racism because it said "we love white." What about the wall, "build the wall" sign? Well, you can go back and look online for yourself at the pictures from that night. There was no sign that mentioned the wall. And so when questioned about this, the principal did admit that he completely made that up, that he didn't see that sign, and that, he had no proof that, I don't know where that came from. It was his answer. So, they're conflating this and making it mean something more than it is. There was no wall sign there. What about the racist chant? The racist chant turned out to be "USA, USA, USA." But principal Jeff Bishop says that was racist against his Latino students. That somehow this was this patriotism was not patriotism to them. It was a racist attack against Latinos. So apparently patriotism is racism now. We've come a long ways from 9/11, where that incident bound us all together as Americans. And we all made a concerted effort to express our patriotic fervor when we had been attacked by a foreign enemy. And it was very far from this American-hating spirit that we have in our country right now. So apparently nowadays, patriotism is racism. Like the German lady, I was wearing a shirt very similar to this at the Patriot Prayer Rally in Portland when I infiltrated behind enemy lines into Antifa. And one of the protesters there associated with the Antifa stopped me with my shirt, gave me an awful dirty look. You'll see it's a funny video. She's like, "Brr, brr, brr," like she's disgusted. And I did loop it because it was too funny. But she accuses me of being a fascist or a fascist sympathizer because I'm wearing the American flag on my shirt. It said, "God bless America," and then she wanted to tell me that America wasn't founded by that concept or on that concept. So, at any rate, the American flag, for instance, I was at that same Patriot Prayer Rally when one of the Antifa said, "But look over there, there's Confederate flags. They're all a bunch of racists. There's Confederate Nazi flags all over there." And I turn and I look at the Patriot Prayer Rally, and all I can see is the American flag. I didn't even see a Keck flag, which is kind of baiting them into thinking it's a racist flag when really they're making fun of them for thinking everything is racist, and it's about Pepe the Frog. You know, so, you know, I won't get into the Keck thing. They had a lot of fun with that. The left doesn't understand it, but there wasn't even Keck flags in that picture. When I turned and looked, it was nothing but wall-to-wall red, white, and blue, which I think the left is so deranged now. They look at red, white, and blue, and they see the Confederate flag. They see swastikas where we see the American flag. It's a real his Trump derangement syndrome is something else, let me tell you. So, were the students being patriotic at the football game? Was that racism? Let's honestly ask ourselves that question. Because you might ask yourself, why? Why on earth would they pick that day, the day they were going up against a 99% Latino school, to chant USA, USA? Why did that day they wear red, white, and blue to the game? Why did that day did they make all those signs about how much they love America and how awesome America is? Party in the USA. Why would students do that? Of course, it's racism. It's obviously racism. It's just racism. That's the only answer. Or maybe we step back a little bit and find out that the school promoted that day and that football game as the big crescendo of a week-long celebration and remembrance of the victims of 9/11. And that their sign of patriotism was not racism, but was the memory and the remembrance of the 9/11 victims and remembering the patriotic surge that we all felt when we had been attacked by an outside enemy. Now you feel differently about it? It wasn't racism, it was patriotism. But everyone is so sensitive now that to love America must mean you hate minorities. How did that happen? America is made up of minorities. It's got to be Trump derangement syndrome. I don't know. What do you think? Tell me in the comment section. Is this principle is completely unhinged, and clearly there was no racist intent, nor was there actually anything that could be construed as racism at this football game. And on top of that, it was all in memory of this weekend being the anniversary, or this week being the anniversary of 9/11, leading up to this to today, which is the anniversary of 9/11. So tell me what you think in the comments section. What's wrong with our country? Why is everybody losing it? And shouldn't this principal be fired? Shouldn't he step down and resign? Shouldn't he at least apologize for the misunderstanding? I suspect they're all double downing on the fact that they believe it was racially motivated. God save our republic.